Welcome to another conversation with me, Peter Woods, and the Wounded Angel Network. You can see our logo is traveling with us, and I'm in a holiday cottage where I discovered a wood burning stove still in use. The chimney is still connected. And so last evening I set about making a fire in this wood burning stove. Now, I have lots of romantic memories of my grandmother's house where there was a stove just like this called an agger, and it was bigger than this one, although maybe I was just smaller. But I was so nostalgic about building this fire and having it warm the house, because right now it is coming to the end of winter, but it's still pretty cold here in the Long Kloof in southern Africa. So I set about building the fire, and I opened the door where I saw what I thought was a grate, and I packed the logs, and I put in a fire lighter, and I lit the fire. And after a while I felt some heat, but it was very low heat, and every time I tried to peek, smoke would come billowing out here, and I better just leave it, and I'd play with the flue and make sure everything was going, but it wasn't. Strangely enough, a little bit of smoke was getting out of the chimney outside, so I was falsely reassured that things were going correctly, but they weren't, and eventually my attempt at a fire died, smothered. It was only later, as I was trying to work out what was wrong, that I discovered that I had not been building the fire in the right place. This is the oven of the stove, it's not the firebox. The firebox is next door. When I opened it, I had no idea what that was meant to be. I thought it was for breaking bread or something very esoteric like that. It was only afterwards that I realized you don't make the fire in the oven, you put the bread in the oven, and through the top plate, when you open it, you drop the logs into the firebox, put the fire lighter in here, and once I did that, everything worked. And then I got thinking that this really is quite a powerful metaphor for life. Because as I look back on over 60 years of my own life, I realize that I have very often been building my fire in the wrong place. And if we take fire as a symbol for our energy and for our passion, I began to think, how often have I, and by extension I invite you to reflect, is how often have you spent your time, and often many years of your life and a lot of energy of your life, building a fire in the oven where it's just not going to burn. You don't build fires in the oven. You build fires in the firebox and bake bread in the oven. So how does one know when you're building a fire in the wrong place? Well, I think my effort here gave me the answer. When you find yourself feeling smothered, when you find yourself in clouds of smoky confusion, when no real energy is happening and you're not combusting, we sometimes talk about not firing on all cylinders, there's not enough combustion happening. It's because when I was building the fire in the oven, there was nowhere for the fire to breathe. There was no oxygen to feed the fire. And so that's how I look back on my life and realize I have often expended a lot of passion and time in the wrong place, and I haven't noticed that I was being starved of oxygen and life, that I was feeling smothered and cloudy and smoky. It just wasn't working, and truth be told, I was probably quite depressed. The reason was, put my passion in the wrong place, committed my passion to the wrong things. when you build a fire in a firebox, everything works. The air comes in through the flue, across the wood, and the firelighters and the flames, fans them, they go through, bread gets baked, food gets cooked, the room gets warm. It's alive, the stove is functioning as it is meant to function. Same is true for your life and for mine. When we put our passion in the right place, we will feel the breath of life, fanning that fuel that we have put on the fire, fanning the flames, energizing us, empowering us to then produce and be who we were meant to be. So I offer you this beautiful old antique wood burning stove and my really silly attempts at fire lighting and the wonderful lesson eventually of how to do it properly. I offer that to you as a metaphor for maybe looking at your own life, as I looked at mine after last evening and examined those many places where I have been expending my passion, making my fire in the wrong places. Find your correct firebox, put your fuel there, and everything will just work. I'm Peter Woods. I am a counselor, conflict mediator, life coach. If you would like to contact me for a one-on-one conversation on Skype or Zoom from anywhere in the world, please email me to the email that you will see at the end of this video. Thank you for your attention and may your fire burn strong.